Hey guys, welcome back to the Macros for Life podcast. This is your host, Eve Guzman. I'm a medical laboratory scientist turned nutritionist and macro coach and mentor to coaches who has lost 150 pounds, and I have maintained it for 15 years. And I'm super excited to talk to you guys about the 5 meals that I have been eating on repeat. I don't get bored. It's my simple, lazy girl tracking system to hitting my macros. And it's helped me to maintain my weight. So I'm going to give it to you today. Very unsexy, unglamorous, sometimes embarrassingly simple because I haven't really mentioned this except to a couple of my one on one business coaching clients. But how I maintain my weight, whether I'm tracking or not, because I'm eating the same 5 meals on repeat. Like that's it. I'm not a meal prep influencer. Everything is not super aesthetic, but your girl can cook. We owned a meal prep company for 2 years, so I can cook. But I want to get past the 47 ingredients, spending $61 for one recipe, all these hours in the kitchen. I am not spending hours in the kitchen. I really focus on like 5 meals. They're on rotation, got a little variety with them. But every single week, I'm eating the same stuff. So, I'm going to give you guys my whole system, why it works, how to build your own, and the app that I use to track everything in under like 2 minutes a day. So, why am I doing this? So, let's start with the problem that I see constantly. People come to me overwhelmed by macro tracking, and then I ask them what's going on, what's wrong, and it ends up always being the same thing. They're trying to track everything, they're doing complicated meals, they're on MyFitnessPal, which I don't recommend, for 45 minutes trying to log a recipe with 22 ingredients. They're eating a different meal every single day. They're spending so much money on the grocery store with these complicated meals. And then they've got nothing on repeat. They spend all their time on this one big glorious meal, and then they don't even have shit to eat the rest of the week. And then eventually they quit. And it's not because the macros don't work, it's because they're making it too freaking complicated. So here's what I know. After 15 years of maintaining my weight and coaching 1,800 plus coaches through Macro U, boring is sustainable, and sustainable equals results. The goal is not to have the most interesting food, life, and recipes. The goal is to have a system that is so simple that you never have to think about it. When you stop thinking about it, you stop quitting. That's really the whole game around this. So, here's my repeat meal framework. If you're driving, save this, go back and take notes. If you are somewhere where you can do some notes in your phone, let's do it. I'll link as many things as I can at the bottom of the podcast, but I'm really doing this one off the cuff. But let me get a sip of my coffee before we continue. So here's how I actually eat. I have 3 meal structures that run my entire food game. They are bowls, chili, and tacos. Bowls, chili, and tacos. And I've been so nervous to talk about this. You know why? Because the chili. And I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm like, they're going to think I'm this like gassy girl. I'm eating beans probably every other day. And you have to remember, a year ago, I was plant-based and I love lentils. I love beans. Didn't like them growing up. Whole nother story, but now I'm like a rice and beans kind of girl. I love Southern food, but anyways, back to the message at hand. I've been nervous talking about that I'm eating chili every day, like all the fiber. But guess what? Before I get the questions about it, I'm not gassy. I'm never bloated. Make sure you rinse your beans well. Try to go organic, and you get used to it and chew your food properly. But I'm making sure I'm getting my 25 grams of fiber minimum. But that's what I'm eating: bowls, chili, and tacos every day. Every single meal is built on the same formula of macros, which are protein, carbs, and fiber, protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And so every single meal I am eating all day has protein, carbs, and fats. Every meal, every time. So I'm going to break this down on what it looks like. So bowls. Number one, this is my most used structure because it is so easy. And I'm going protein, carb with veggie with these bowls. For my protein or my meat, I am typically picking ground turkey, chicken breast and chicken thighs mixed. Either of those. Sometimes I don't do bear chicken nuggets a lot, but I'll do the real, is it Feel Good Foods? Feel Good Foods. I like them better. They are gluten free. They just taste, let's be honest, it tastes more like the macros are right. I'm not saying anything's wrong with bear chicken nuggets. They straight up taste like they're from Chick-fil-A. But those taste like the macros on the bag are lower than what they are. And usually I'm right about these things, especially if you've been following me for a while and you guys know about a company that I went in on, who were falsifying the macros on the label of their packages. I was weighing the protein bars. I was messaging them. I was emailing them. It was a whole viral shenanigans type of deal. But usually with your gut feeling, if something feels like the macros on the label are wrong, it's probably the truth. But protein, I like to do chicken. I like to do ground turkey. The carb, I like to do rice, sweet potato, or quinoa. My fats are going to come from the ground turkey. Fat, some is going to come from the types of chicken that I'm eating, but I might also get fat from adding a little bit of avocado, and then I pick a veggie. It can be greens, it can be peas, it can even be beans because bean is a protein, and a carb. So it's mostly a carb, but you're getting a little boost of protein in there. But green beans, broccoli, whatever. But I do protein, carb, fat. So easy. You can batch prep your sweet potatoes. I bake mine at 400 degrees or 425 degrees for about 22 minutes, and then I see where they're at depending on how big the chunks are. But you can do your sweet potatoes, your rice, your quinoa. You can do them all in big bowls, and then you can just build as you go for the week. I do not fully assemble my meals. I will pick the protein and the carb that is typically made the day before or something. And the veggies I usually cook up fresh or have them raw. But the reason why I love these bowls is because they're like infinitely scalable. You can do whatever with them. If you need more protein, you add more. If you need to hit 6 ounces of cooked turkey, you can do six. You only need 3.5, you can do 3.5. You need more carbs, you add. You don't have much carbs for the day, then most of your carbs are going to be coming from vegetables. So maybe it's going to be on a bed of rice, spinach, greens, whatever. You don't have enough fat, take out the avocado, make the protein leaner. It's so easy. But you're not really changing the meal, you're just adjusting the portions based on where you're at with your macros for the day. And I love doing this on repeat because I know exactly what it's going to track as. I can duplicate these in my macros first app and then, eat those same meals over and over. But I don't always have to re-enter it every time. And because I'm mostly doing the meal method, I'm making sure I'm getting the right quantity. I'm getting good quality, whole, healthy foods. And I know roughly after practice and practice, so easy is earned. I know roughly how many calories and macros a typical bowl takes for me to make, and then I can log it in 30 seconds and then save it as a template. So bowls are number one. Chili. This is like my batch cooking hero. This is the secret that I have not been talking about, but I have been eating and making chili almost every single week as a girly living in Florida. It is 96 degrees here today, but as a girl living in Florida, I have been making this since December of last year. I make a really big pot. If you want to DM me and get the recipe, I will gladly share it to you. Just say what's good. Give me the chili recipe. But I love making chili because it is so easy. Again, I have really hesitated with telling you guys that I've been eating and making chili almost every year for a week. But it's so easy. It's high protein. It's low to moderate carb. The way that I make it, again, DM me for my chili recipe, and the fat is pretty low. I do 93.7 ground turkey. I usually use Pinto beans, but sometimes I will adjust it with kidney beans or black beans. And I loved diced tomatoes with chilies, and I do all of my seasoning to the taste, but it is budget friendly. Canned goods can last forever in your pantry. The ground turkey, I do 2.5 pounds of raw ground turkey in every pot of chili. And I can typically make this for a meal for about 350 calories. And then if I want stuff to dip in my chili, I can. You want to add a little sour cream, you can. You want to use tortilla chips, which is my thing. But if you have never cooked chili to help as a batch prep to hit your macros for the day, you got to check it out. Like, don't hate on the chili. It is definitely one of the secret things that you can do. Next is tacos. Probably one of the most underrated macro friendly meals on the planet. And I will die on this hill because it is protein forward. You can customize the fat and the carbs. It works for the whole family. And it's so incredibly easy to track it because the ingredients are simple. I go corn tortilla, but I usually do corn tortilla with ground turkey, or corn tortilla with shredded chicken breast, corn tortilla, and I will do sometimes those real good chicken nuggets, cook them in the air fryer, chop them up, put them on the corn tortilla. You guys, I'm telling you guys all the secrets, but I pan cook the corn tortilla. I can't believe I'm saying all this shit, but I will spray the pan with nonstick spray. I will put the corn tortilla on top. I'll wait till it gets a little crispy. Then I will flip it. Then cheese is the next layer. Trust me. Heated corn tortilla, shredded cheese, and then you put the meat of your choice on top. And then once that gets a little crispy on that second outer, then you can add whatever your toppings are. Sometimes if I don't have enough fat for the day, here's a secret. It's called a mixta. You can do half shredded chicken and half ground turkey. So sometimes I will take 2 ounces of shredded chicken plus 2 ounces of cooked ground turkey, mix it together, and I'll put it on the tortilla. You can even eat these like tostadas. You can do them on tostones. You can do them on whatever. But a little cheese, a little salsa. I love mambo sauce. Again, I'm giving you guys all the secrets. I don't even be telling on Instagram, and it's so easy. You know exactly what's in it. So easy to track, and it's like 15 minutes to make if you have the food already prepped, the meat. So maybe 10 minutes, but it's so freaking easy. So you got my bowls, you got my chili, you got my tacos, and the formulas for these always work because it's protein forward, protein first. Anchor every single meal with a protein source. Then you pick your carb, and then let fat fall into place with whatever the fat may be in your toppings with the protein source that you pick. Even if you're plant-based, you can do this with tofu. You can do it with extra lentils, seitan, vital wheat gluten. I like soy crisp, all those things. But if you learn to build your meal with this structure, you're going to hit your macros without overthinking it. When you are making lasagnas and huge meals as a newer macro tracker, or you're getting back in the swing, it is hard as fuck to enter all those ingredients, figure out what your portion is, and then really be protein forward. Start this way. Trust me. We have coached between coaches and real everyday people over 5,000 people. So try it this way. So the tracking piece, let's talk about that. This is where people overcomplicate it. I switched to macros first a couple of years ago. You guys can use code EVE G. G is in the goat. Guzman. I'll put it in the show notes to get the premium version, but it is the first app out there that actually helps you to hit your macros better and easier. Most apps are like your Most apps, when you're using them for tracking macros, it is you attempting to use their app to hit the macros. This is the first app created that is built to help you hit your macros, and you're not telling the app what you need. It is so easy to adjust the portions that you've put in to see what the adjusted macros would be. It is so easy. I love it over every other app. It is built specifically for macro tracking. It's not one of those calorie counting apps with macros as an afterthought. That is what MyFitnessPal is. But it really can take me 2 minutes a day instead of 20 because I save my meals. The first time you log your ground turkey bowl, save it. When you do your tacos, log it, save it. Now, every day when you eat those meals, you can log those saved meals and not re entering 8 ingredients from scratch, 2 taps, boom, you're done. That's really the difference between people who track consistently and people give up. We find easy things that are sustainable, not glamorous, not sexy, repeatable. They save us time. It's really not about willpower, you guys. It's really about us removing the friction so that you guys can stay consistent over time. So if that didn't sink in, just know with macro tracking, it's not about willpower. It is about how can I reduce the friction to get the thing done, to hit the goal, to give me the results. If you remove the friction, you're going to be more consistent. So here's how to actually build your personal meal plan using the system. Step 1, know your macro targets. If you don't know yours yet, that's a whole other episode, but get them figured out first. Roll through our episodes. You're going to be able to find one. Step 2, build 3 to 5 meals that hit those targets. Build them in the Macros First app. Use that method of protein plus a carb plus a fat for every single meal, making sure you're focusing on being protein forward. Step 3, I want you to rotate those meals on repeat without overthinking it. Bowls Monday and Wednesday, chili Tuesday and Thursday, tacos on Friday, fill in everything else, right? And number 4, add variety with the toppings, the sauces. Try some different recipes, but have your foundation. Add a little squeeze of this, a little hot sauce. I am a hot sauce connoisseur. I like all kinds of things. I try them. Step 5, batch cook once or twice a week so the food is already ready when you are. And that's the whole meal plan. 5 meals, 1 formula, 1 app, macros first, keep it on repeat. All right, so I want to talk about something that nobody in the nutrition space is really talking about, and that's the money side of eating for your macros. And I know because I grew up with not much. We didn't have a lot of the extras. Everything was plain, but simple food is cheap food. My grocery staples are like ground turkey, chicken breast, beef, rice, sweet potatoes, corn tortillas, canned beans, canned tomatoes, avocado, salsa, hot sauce, seasoning, broccoli, peas, green beans, lettuce, spinach. Like that's the big gist of my list outside of sourdough and eggs and ground turkey for breakfast. I'm not buying $18 salads. I'm not buying a bunch of pre-made meals that cost $14 a piece. I'm not spending $500 a week on groceries and DoorDash. We have built this business because we shop like we're on a budget, not because we have to. Because being smart with food money is also part of food freedom. And when you know how to eat well on less, you're never going to be dependent on a specific income level to take care of your body being healthy. So just know, like tracking macros is like your budget for your body, but also we have to have a financial budget to keep up with the things that we need to have going on long term so we can actually hit our macros. So if you're needing some more support on macro tracking, setting your goals, I've got our one-on-one coaching application at the bottom of the page. If you're needing accountability and support, I'll also link the Macros First app so that you can check it out. But if you're also listening and you're like, I love this, I want to help other people do this, I have my own transformation. We also mentor coaches at Macro U, so I'll put the link down there for macro mentorship. If this podcast was helpful, hit me up on social media at Eve Guzman Official. Let me know that you liked it. Let me know if you need a little bit more support, but I will see you guys on the next episode.